Hello and welcome to Stress Less with me, Jess. Today, my special guest is Rachel Meyer. Hi, Rachel.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you feeling today?
I'm feeling great. It's the first day of spring, I
It
think.
is the first day of spring. I saw that on social media today. I was like, oh, I feel so good.
Yeah, I usually forget things like that, but
Thank God
I'm
for social
excited.
media, you know? No.
Yeah.
So I want to bring you on here because there's different kind of dietitian and nutritionist and things and et cetera. But I really like the way you talk about it because you talk about what I'm hearing more and more lately of that quote unquote balance and flexibility of how to make that a dietitian for me. And I know when we kind of first talked, and if you listened to any of my other podcasts before, you know, it is really about your body and understanding what makes the most sense for you. And going on your website and following you, that's what I get from you. What is your mission in bringing in dietitian to other women in the world?
So my mission is to help women really build a lifestyle that's going to feel good and be sustainable. And there are different pieces to that. It's not as simple as here, just eat this. Here, don't eat that. There's so much more to this puzzle than just what we eat. And I think that's really important to address the different pieces of that puzzle and also know that everybody's so different. So it's not a one size fits all. And I don't believe that it should be, because that doesn't honor the individual. And so that's really a big part of my mission. It's helping women make the transformations in their lifestyle that's going to support long-term success with not just if there's like a weight related goal or a body composition related goal, which is fine to have, but not at the expense of our mental health, not at the expense of our physical health. So my goal is to help people, yes, make progress with certain goals that they have, but in a way, again, builds that lifestyle, but also enhances their physical and mental well-being.
And I love the word lifestyle too, because I'm hearing habits and I'm hearing working what's best for me. Because like you said, when I'm thinking lifestyle, I'm thinking maybe I don't have kids. Maybe I do have kids. Maybe I work multiple jobs. Maybe I have to take care of my parents. So I have different lifestyles. And, again, I know we made jokes about social media when we first got on, but there's all these different things that are getting thrown at us. And like, oh, well, I'll meal prep. Oh, I'll try this smoothie and I'll try this. And it's like, well, that doesn't work for me. And my instant thought is a lot of us, maybe especially women, if you agree, we go into that I'm a failure mode.
Absolutely. Yes. Yes. So that can be what we see day to day and what this person is doing, what that person is doing. That's a really important thing to embrace, that just because something works for someone else or doing that specific strategy or behavior might work for them or their lifestyle. I think that's so important to be aware of, that, yeah, that doesn't mean that we're a failure because that doesn't fit into our lifestyle. So it's like there are different ways of thinking about that. And I think one way is working on that, like embracing that, you know what, I'm an individual and it's important to find what works best for me. And that's okay if, whatever they're doing, and we don't know what else is going on in other people's lives. And yeah, kind of what they're dealing with or what else they do or what kind of help or support that they get. So
You said a couple things right there. We don't know what's going on in their lives. We don't know what the support they're getting, right? We only are having these little snippets. So we don't really know everything that's falling into it that's helping them create that lifestyle that they're having. And I think that's really huge on that part too. So going back to that lifestyle, what are some of the quote unquote, I want to say basic, but normal questions you might ask someone to kind of go, how do I understand your lifestyle?
that's a great question. So what I really love to do when I start, just at the beginning of getting to know an individual, is tapping into their history, because that does and can play a big part in our current lifestyle. Like, it can explain, why do I have those behaviors around stress and food? Or, why do I struggle with this or that? And I think that when we learn about the history or like where maybe certain things come from, that can help a lot with actually understanding the current lifestyle and go really get deeper into what's maybe the root struggle or challenge here, and why this is maybe impacting certain behaviors. So that's, again, so much beyond just what do you eat? What, like let's try to really understand the individual here, because then we can come up with solutions that are going to make sense and that address maybe the root cause or, challenge. So that's definitely one area that I like to focus on when learning about an individual's lifestyle. And then also what they're doing in the present, their behaviors around sleep, stress management, definitely nutrition, and what is maybe a day-to-day, what does that kind of look like? Movement, exercise, and then beyond those pieces, learning about specific challenges, which can really open up a lot of conversation to talk about, what do you struggle with when it comes to your eating behaviors, or just working on making yourself a priority and your health a priority.
Oh my gosh, there's so much in there. History is really important because that's where we adapt a lot of our habits and maybe even our relationship with stress and food, right? So you have those. And then you have, like you said, the now lifestyle. And how are you making yourself a priority? There's so many things that come in place. It's not just like you said, okay, just drink more water, or, take this out of your diet. That's not good for you because, carbs aren't good for you. And you're starting to think about those things. And it's like, there's so much more in a place, especially when, it's your health and what works the best for you.
Yeah, I think it's doing ourselves a disservice when we're not looking beyond just what we eat. There's just so much more to a person, and also why we have certain habits. So that's, I think, really important. It's something that this type of way of coaching versus like a traditional diet, which again is so focused on just don't eat that. It's not fair. I just don't think it's fair.
It's not fair. It's absolutely not fair. But my next question for you would be, what made you even get started in this? What made you become a dietitian and go, I'm going to help women prioritize themselves in their lifestyle?
So I did a little bit of a 180. I actually started out as an interior design major at Drexel, which is kind of funny because I thought I wanted nothing to do with science, but I always loved food. That's like no question. In fact, when I was growing up, I always questioned this when I was an interior design major. I was like, I never was really into HGTV, but I was always into the Food Network. Is that an issue? I would question that in my head. But eventually, after a year of being in that program, I really hit a place where I was like, you know what, this is very unfulfilling. I'm not doing well. I'm borderline failing out of college now. And it's weird. I had a light bulb moment. I really did. I was like, you know what? I don't want to do any more of these design projects. I just want to sit in a chair with a book and study my butt off and learn about the body. All of a sudden I was maybe from being so deprived from it, all of a sudden, all I wanted to learn about was the science of how the body worked, how we use food, and how we can use food to improve and preserve our health. That mixed with, I love food. And I've also had my own challenges with food. And I want to help people overcome and manage their challenges. And then you mix that with, when I want to help people, I love food. And then just, wanting to learn about the science. It was pointed directly to, all right, that makes sense. And I ended up switching and becoming a nutrition major. And it was, honestly, it was the first time I ever felt so passionate about something. I never did good in school. I was very, I don't know, didn't do the best. And from then on out, oh my gosh, I was thriving just because I had found my passion. So that's how I started. That's how I got into the field.
I think you kind of highlight something too, bringing up that whole failure piece, right? Oh, this isn't working for me. This doesn't work for me. It's kind of like with you in your school. It wasn't working for you, But it's not that you go, okay, well, school isn't for me, I'm a failure. You found the other thing that worked for you. And I think that just shows in the work that you do too. It's like, okay, that's not working for you. It's not that you're a failure. It's, we have to find a different thing that's going to work for you. And I also truly believe, and tell me if you agree with this, some months, one thing's going to work for you. And then 2 months later, it's not going to work anymore, you know? And so figuring it out, having that, that awareness with yourself is so important, and making that time for yourself, prioritizing yourself and realizing that it's okay if this doesn't work for me.
That's a very important, I think that practice of like, yes, it's like figuring out what is showing up for myself look like based on the circumstance that I'm going through. And I think what's so nice about that, embracing that kind of practice, is then you don't have to live with the pressure of, well, I have to do it one way all the time,
Yeah.
or I'm failing. That's some serious pressure right there. And I could see how that could be very stressful and then lead to either burnout or giving up, because we set that expectation that maybe wasn't so realistic. But yeah, we know that life constantly changing. So
Yeah.
learning kind of, it's okay that it might look different from, depending on the circumstance. But what you said about the whole failure, like, I mean, I dropped out of a program because it wasn't working for me. And I do love how that really does parallel to this, where it's like, right, we're not failing if something doesn't go well, or if we figure out that something isn't working for us. It can really become such a beautiful learning opportunity, and then lead us to figuring out, well, what is going to work. It gives us that opportunity to figure that out. And the one other thing real quick I want to say is I failed my first bio class when I switched to nutrition. And, I didn't know how to study, but it took that failure to be like, okay, I got to figure this out. And then I did. But there's a big difference between kind of learning, taking those times as like, all right, just because I, quote, failed or fell, whatever you want to say, it doesn't mean I'm a failure. It doesn't mean I'm failing.
And that, sorry. And that's exactly what we do to ourselves, right? We definitely put that inside going, okay, well, I didn't pass this. I didn't succeed at this. I didn't get the A. I didn't accomplish this. So I'm a failure. So I love that, how it's coming full circle for you. In terms of stress, how does food play a part?
People can respond to stress in so many different ways with food. But we have different like physical and mental situations going on with stress. Like we have hormone, like the cortisol, that stress hormone. And on, for some, it's like, I feel like this is where history can be really helpful to understand, like, how has stress impacted you in the past. Sometimes it's like food cravings will be amplified during periods of stress for some people, and some people, they might have like a diminished appetite. But I love helping people to understand like what's going on when they're experiencing stress, and how does that affect their behaviors. And because it can often, be a struggle for sure. So knowing that, I really love kind of figuring out, okay, what are other tools here? Because one common situation can kind of become food being that outlet, that way to comfort, to numb, to escape. And the truth is that there's actually nothing wrong with using food as like comfort. I do like to be clear on this, where it doesn't have to be a bad thing to like have food as a response to an emotion. I mean, when we're first born, one of the first things we do is cry, but like so we like come into this world like, and then we usually, I mean, I think gonna, have milk or whatever the baby has. And like, that can become the first experience of like, we're associating food as like safety, comfort. And this doesn't have to be something that we work against. We can work with that. One thing I love to do is helping individuals to identify other tools as way to like manage their stress, so that they're not just dependent on the food, because that's when it can become can become an issue. And I say issue only meaning that it can lead to a person not feeling well if they're, eating to the point, or their behaviors around food are causing them to not feel well. And then, guilty or uncomfortable, because that I don't believe is okay. I think that, we should be working on behaviors that are going to make us feel good.
Yeah.
So that's one thing I like to do, is just make sure we come up with a plan, come up with some steps or some tools that we can definitely practice. Here's some other ways we can respond to stress, but also still be able to, the option can still be to include food, but really work on, what are those behaviors going to look like, so that when or if you do go to have food in response to an emotion or stress, you're also going to eat it and enjoy it in a way that's going to feel good.
I love that, because like we said, since the beginning of this episode, is figuring out what works for you. And, when you're learning about what that food makes you feel like, whether it's an apple, whether it's ice cream, it doesn't matter. Each food is making you feel a certain way. So realizing what it makes you feel like. And I think that, again, going back to that awareness piece, but you also said, again, with those habits, that lifestyle, you're really saying everything your mission is. And so that's why I loved, having these conversations with you, because you're really living it out based on you going from HTTV to Food Network. But it's really living what you're preaching. So I love hearing all of that. For the listener that's saying, oh my God, Rachel is saying everything I need. I need a lifestyle. I need habits. I need awareness when it comes around to my diet and nutrition. What is the best way for them to contact you?
The best way would be just shooting me a message on Facebook or email. And my email is rachel@prolifestylenutrition.com. And then, Facebook or Instagram, pretty much.
Awesome. And all your information will be repeated wherever you're listening to the episode. It'll be in the notes or on the social media platform that you found this at. All our information will be there for you. Rachel, what is the one thing you want the listeners to take away from this episode?
I think the one thing would be just to remember that you deserve more than a cookie cutter program that's not going to address you as an individual, and that's not going to work with you as an individual. I think that's probably what I'm thinking, because I just know that that's one of those really easy things to fall vulnerable to in today's world of diets and nutrition. So, yeah.
Oh, I love that. You deserve more than a cookie cutter approach. You really do. You really do. It's not one size fits all. It's not a thing. We've all tried on that dress, or that shirt was one size fits all. It's not a thing. It's not a thing.
Yeah.
Rachel, before I let you go, we're going to do the lightning round. Are you ready?
I'm ready. Let's do this. I feel like I'm on a game show.
I need like an introduction music for this part. It needs to be like that music.
That'd be great.
So mention Food Network. What is your favorite show on the Food Network?
Diners, Drive-ins, and Dives.
Really?
Oh yeah, I love that show.
Have you been to any of his restaurants, like in your area? Have you ever looked it up and went to the restaurants he went to, or traveled?
Yeah, I want to go to more. That's a mission. But I think I've been to a couple. One of them in Philly, I've been to Honey's.
Okay.
One. I think I was in one in Rhode Island. I went to one. I think that might be it. Maybe like 2 or 3.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've been to one in Philly. I forget what it was called, but we went there for their mac and cheese or something. I was like, yes, let's do this. Awesome. Yeah. Do you like the beach or the mountains?
Beach.
What movie can you watch on repeat?
Oh, come on. Elf.
Really?
Yeah.
I love it. What is your karaoke song?
Oh, I can't even remember the name of the song, but I'm going to also go with Hit Me Baby One More Time.
I'm going to be a little selfish here. I'm planning my wedding right now. What is the song that's going to get you on the dance floor?
Ooh, this is so random, but Cotton Eye Joe. because it did that at this Halloween party this year that we went to with my in-laws. And like once that song came on, I was like, all right, let's do this. So,
Where's your next place to travel?
I believe, fingers crossed, Bermuda on our
Oh,
first cruise ever.
first
Yeah.
cruise. You'll have to let me know because I go back and forth with cruises. So I haven't been on one. I
All
get
right.
nervous.
Yeah, I'll let you know. Oh, good.
What is one more? What is a typical Friday night?
Oh, it is either a date night with my husband, either that or grocery shopping, to be honest. Getting some chores out of the way. That is sometimes what I like to do because then I just feel like, all right, less people are going to be here and we can check it off. So I feel like that or just like watching movies and relaxing.
Yes, yes. Oh my God. Thank you so much for coming on here. I'm so grateful for you taking the time out. I just had so much fun with you.
Yes, you're welcome. Thank you for having me. This was a good time.
Good time.